third session, which is called Notes to Myself and Others Who Care. So we're going to start this with a starter activity. You'll notice that there are signs up behind me. So this one says strongly agree, disagree, and then strongly disagree is all the way over there. So you're responding to this statement. We can shift our mindset from fixed to growth by recognizing our internal script, rewriting that script, and practicing and applying the new script in different situations. So take a minute to think about that, and think about how much you agree with it, or to what extent you agree or disagree with it. And then you're going to go up and you're going to put yourself next to the sign that represents how you feel about that statement. So again, strongly disagree over there, all the way to strongly agree over here. And once there are sort of a few people in that area, you can start talking about why you're there. Why is that the way that you feel regarding the statement? So take a minute to think about that, and then get up and move to the sign.
Yeah, can we just like go next to you? Yeah.
Everyone's friend. So now take a minute or so to talk with a few of the people around you about why you're there. So now let's hear from a few people about why you're standing where you are. So why don't we start with your strongly agree?
I choose strongly agree because if you're changing your mindset to growth, that means you're fixing the things that you're thinking for me about.
What about a few people from agree?
I'll say something, I guess. Well, because of our neuroplasticity, which shows how like you can really change your mindset and learn more about like something else and keep that going through that like pathway. Well, that kind of shows that we can just switch our mindset from fixed to growth. It may be hard, but if you do try hard enough to do it, you can.
We know this because of what we've looked at based on neuroscience, and we know that it maybe it's a process and we have to work at. Was there anything that kept you from moving to strongly agree? Are there any parts of that that you don't agree with or don't quite feel right? Yeah.
I couldn't really think of like specific ones, but I don't think that rewriting the script in your brain is like the only way that you can change your mindset. That's why.
Okay. Rewriting that script is kind of like the growth mindset in action, right? Like that's kind of like noticing you're in a fixed mindset and saying, I have the ability to change this by thinking about it. That's an interesting point though, yeah. Thanks. What else? Did someone else raise their hand? And what about disagree?
For some people that have a fixed mindset, it's going to be hard for them to transition to growth depending on who they are or what they're going through. So I think mindset, and for some people to do it, may be harder than others. And I just feel like some people maybe kind of struggle to go to fixed to growth.
It doesn't have a specific time frame because I don't think it can have one. You know, like I think that it'll necessarily take a different amount of time for different people. But I also think that part of a growth mindset is accepting or understanding that anybody can make this switch. There are other societal factors maybe which put people at a disadvantage, and so like maybe saying that growth mindset is able to overcome them completely is maybe a little bit simplistic. So like there are other things you have to take into account. I respect also that you stood over there and nobody else did. Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Because, as we were saying earlier, a fixed mindset means you don't really think you can change. So if you have a fixed mindset and you're trying to change to a growth, you don't think you can change to a growth mindset. So you'll just have your brains fighting each other, like the quote over there said.
Do you think that if someone in a fixed mindset had learned about growth mindset and learned that it was like, that it's been scientifically proven that we can change our learning by changing the way we think, that it would affect them?
I think that after they've learned that and really wrapped their mind around that, then they could change.
Thank you. Okay, so when you're doing this and there's been a week's time between the last session and this is where you connect back the opportunity from the last session, which is about noticing self-talk, relating it to growth and fixed mindset, and finding out where it falls on that spectrum, and then working to rewrite that and be really cognizant of that. So for this next part, we're going to split into two groups, so you can stay in your school groups. And let's see, so if the group over here So come up, you're going to be partnered off and you're going to be working with people. And it says come up with one concrete step you can personally take to build a growth mindset and hold high expectations for yourself. We're going to change that a little bit. Come up with as many as you can in about a minute. But think about ways that you could take a specific concrete step, like something you can actually point at, to build a growth mindset for yourself. And then the group over here, you're going to be doing a similar thing, again, partnering off, coming up with as many reasons as you can. Except instead of it's what you can do to help yourself, it's what your teacher can do to help you build a growth mindset and hold high expectations for yourself. Does that make sense? Okay, go ahead. So take a minute or so to do that.
Making overboard, high expectations, like they expect a lot out of you.
Yeah, having it in mind. Like I need to be breathing, like every student can be like, whoa, I can't breathe. But I hate when people override. What am I thinking?
Okay. So now let's start with this group. What's one thing you came up with? One thing that you can do to help yourself with growth mindset?
Think positive.
Think positively. Okay. What's that?
Pay attention to your thoughts.
I'm just gonna write down one to get us started. And then what about the group over here?
Your teacher can like have high expectations for you, but without like pushing you overboard. Just so like they know what you're capable of.
So like
Reasonable.
Yeah, reasonable.
So like have high expectations, but also like respect that there's a balance.
Yeah. Yeah.
If the students don't know about fixed mindsets and growth mindsets, they can't, like you said before, the fixed mindset, it's okay to be in one, you just have to realize that you are. And if the teachers never teach the students about fixed and growth mindsets, the students can never realize that they're in a fixed mindset and they can't like learn to change over to a growth mindset.
Right. So they have to be sort of cooperating. So you have to have like the knowledge, like the basic understanding of what mindsets are and what a growth mindset is, and a teacher's classroom practices have to align with that, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what we're trying to do here. So that's why you're leading a faculty meeting for the teachers in the beginning, so that the ones who aren't already here and immersed in this sort of understand what it's about, and you'll also be sort of corresponding with them and working with them as you do this. And so you'll be the ones who are giving students sort of the main information about what mindsets are, and then teachers will have the resources to align their classroom practices. So hopefully that will be happening. So I just put down one idea on each to get you started. We're going to split up into 5 groups now. There are 5 different posters, so there's 4 along this back wall, and then there's 1 over there. And what you're going to be doing is, with your group, spend about 2 minutes at each one brainstorming ideas. And so they're all, a similar question, but they involve different groups. So what can a different group do to help you have high expectations and maintain a growth mindset? So we're going to count off into 5s, and then once you get in your groups, we'll have 1s over there, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, and you'll have about 2 minutes, and when I ring the gong, you'll move to the next one, so you'll be rotating in this direction. Does that make sense? Yeah. Cool. All right, let's start over here. Do you want to start counting off?
1,
2, 3, 5. 1,
2,
3, 4.
1s over there, 2s, 3s, 4s, and 5s. And then meet your group, take about 2 minutes to brainstorm.
Build their confidence.
Yeah, like remind them that they can do it. I think that every teacher should let their students know about this.
Yeah.
Because like even in high school, because if
No.
yeah, the rule.
All right. What steps can my teacher take to help things all build growth mindsets and hold expectations?
Challenge us, but like yeah, just like
make us do a 5-million page essay. Yeah. Not discouraging you to try new things.
So now let's just take a minute to quickly go around and tell us a little bit of what you learned, what you found when you sort of synthesized all the different thoughts that were on your poster. So why don't we start over here, and would you tell us what group it was directed towards, and then what were some things that you started or some important themes?
they really changed learning from when our parents were learning. And a lot of times they try to, when they're like helping us, they try to teach us the way that they learned, and we can't really understand that, and then it just gets frustrating. So we try to like accept that we learn different ways, and that it might be hard to kind of help each other because of that.
I think that the ways are different and may both have their merits, but that doesn't mean that one should really trump the other. Cool. Thank you. And then this next group. So what group were you looking at, and what were some themes you found?
We were looking at how the classmates can help you grow with you, because like if a student is here who's like part of M3 is reminding another person to be in a growth mindset, you don't want them to think they're like better than you, or like we also make mistakes too. We have fixed mindsets. We're not better than other classmates just because we're here. So like to grow with you.
So it can't just be like one person leading it or a group of people doing it and nobody else knowing what's happening. Like it has to be
It's
sort
just
of
that, like them reminding others, and they can remind us too.
right. Yeah, it has to be sort of like a mutual interaction.
Yeah.
It's really awesome. Thanks. Okay. What about this group?
So we did what are the concrete steps that you can ask community members, and we started educating the community, because you need to educate the community first before. And we also said take action. So you need to educate the community members before you take action. So like an open house, or like maybe creating a website would be good. And then also communication is a really big part in a mindset, because you need to you need to communicate with others in order to work out a situation where you can have a positive mindset.
It's not just like what can this group do for you. It's like sort of it has to be an interaction, right? Like it has to be something that comes from both parties. That's really awesome. Thank you. Okay. So if you could all go back to your seats, and then we'll talk a little bit about what happened with these ideas. These don't just stop here, all of these ideas that you had. So the reason that you starred some of them is that you, the facilitators, are going to take all of these ideas back. So these are things that, like, when you teach this to your peers, they'll be thinking about this and writing these down, and then like picking out some important ones. And then you, as the facilitators, will be creating something that looks like this. So in your packets, I believe, yeah. So on pages 7 and 8, there are like the blank ones, because what you'll be doing is creating like customized ones based on what people in your group said and what they thought about this, so that you can sort of give them a resource. So this is a way to start thinking about how do we take growth mindset and fixed mindset, which are really cool ideas, but they're a little bit abstract, right? Like it's not something you can point at necessarily and be like, this is growth mindset, this is fixed mindset, or say, this is what I need to do. Like, think positively, that sort of thing. It's really important, but it's not specific. So we're looking for specific actions and specific things that other groups can do and you can do with other groups to help create this kind of culture, this kind of growth mindset culture. So you can take ideas off of here. So these are ones that have been vetted and people have worked really hard to come up with specific things that they think will work really well. And so you can take some ideas off here, you can combine them with the things that people brainstormed in your groups, but you'll be creating an infographic that looks like this as a resource. Okay. So, pulling it all together. So this session was about, it takes a community to build a growth mindset. So understanding that even though a growth mindset may be something very personal because it's something that you think, keeping one and maintaining that is something that really takes everyone. And like you were saying, it's really hard to do if it's just one person or just a group of people doing it. It sort of needs to be everyone. It needs to be like creating a culture together. And so we can help others partner with us to support growth mindsets throughout our community. So this is something that can happen as part of a mutual effort. All right, and then the opportunity of the week is to begin thinking about ways you can share the advice that you just came up with and sort of let other people know. So say, okay, this is what we're working on, this is why we think it's important, and this is what you can do to help support us in this. Questions?